Welcome to Access, thanks to Crypto.com. Matthew, Lloyd and Damian Barrett with you to pull apart a round of footy that produced an all-time legendary moment.
And you're talking about Wanganeen-Milera, one of the great games, individual games you're ever likely to see. And there's also some other special ones from Flying Finn at the Giants, and great to see James Sicily back, so we're going to take a look at him as well.
Although there was dysfunction, there was mayhem, and there was a hero created, and maybe a legend began yesterday at Marvel Stadium. I want you to take us through and pull apart these frantic final moments at Marvel Stadium. St Kilda playing Melbourne and how it unfolded in the final 8 seconds.
It was absolutely chaotic for Melbourne, and you can see the confusion starting with their bench coach, Mark Williams. So they've got 7 forwards and only 3 midfielders. So they've got it wrong with their bench rotation. You can see Jack Viney and this Melbourne forward saying, hey, you should be in the midfield. And they're trying to work out who should be. And you've got Max Gawn, Petrarca, Pickett, and another player. They've all got their hands up saying, who should be the one in the centre bounce? How have we got all this wrong? Well, St Kilda at the same time are working out how can we play this last 8 seconds out. So it's all confusion for Melbourne, which their whole last quarter had been panic, whereas St Kilda through Wanganeen-Milera is looking to construct this last play. So as we let this keep going, you can see they're frustrated with each other. This period here is the 6-6-6. The umpire said you all need to get back into your spots.
To reset to allow St Kilda to take the free kick.
Rowan's just found out there's 8 seconds left. And Nasiah's saying, forwards, I need you all to open up a side for me. So you can see the forwards start to get across to open up this channel for Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. You can see Viney, he's still demanding what's going on here. At the same time, he's telling Caminiti, Viney's wingman matchup.
Petrarca should be looking at Milera here.
Yeah, so he's forced out the wingman, Caminiti, to give him that space while he told the forwards to go there. At the same time, Gawn's still worrying about who should be in the centre bounce. So as this unfolds, the masterclass begins. They need to be tracking Wanganeen-Milera's run. Bowie should be eating him up. Viney should be here on the edge of the square eating him up. And then they've waited the kick inside. So absolute debacle by Melbourne, confusion. And through the clear head of Marshall and Wanganeen-Milera, outstanding.
And as you've pulled that apart, they actually had a second option on that mark with Caminiti, the way he positioned himself. So it wasn't just the isolated Wanganeen-Milera.
You're spot on. I think if Wanganeen-Milera wasn't there and he didn't like that one, he could have popped it longer out to Caminiti as well. So what Viney's role in that was absolutely bizarre.
And then the composure to kick the goal, having already just kicked one. It began the quarter, Lauder, for them, the last quarter, with a 46-point deficit. And that was the largest in AFL history. And they just burnt the Demons early. And again, Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera was the key to it.
Well, when you're down, Damo, Rossi Lyon, I'm sure, would have just said, we just have to take risks. We just got to take risks. And with Melbourne, you have to... it was a domination through St Kilda at the clearance, so they got back on top in the clearance, took risks. Even this from Tom McDonald, he wasn't awake on the mark, so Sharman plays on. Wanganeen-Milera played one of the all-time great games. He had 34 disposals, he kicked 4 goals, 1. He laces out, so they lost their structure in the centre bounce. They missed a lot of shots, which we're going to see shortly.
Take us through this mark.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Just sit on the shoulders, 2v1, Fritchard dropped back.
And McVie didn't have an answer for him. And then to then have this composure, this level-headedness for a 22-year-old to control those 8 seconds in a way that we only see the greats do, Lauder. It's a legendary moment, that last minute by him personally, that last quarter in totality. But the fact that it's a legendary moment, Lauder, is it actually the birth of a legend? And I don't want to say that too lightly because this guy's season already has been pretty special and he's got a massive decision to make about where he plays his football beyond this year.
Yeah, 2 clutch goals in that last 10, 15 seconds, huge. I want to ask you, does it help St Kilda win like that and something so monumental for him to stay at the club?
It can't hurt, can it? I mean, we're speculating, but everyone is around this situation because only Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera knows. He's the only person who knows what decision he's going to make. But the buoyancy and the joy that moment produced with Rowan Marshall, the way they coordinated those final minutes, it can only be a positive for St Kilda, I would think.
Yeah, and I hope he stays. I think there's nothing better. He's the key to St Kilda. He's their best player. You see the way the fans love him and his teammates do as well.
So this, in a historical context, Lord, it just goes to show what Melbourne coughed up yesterday and conceded. And it comes on the back of a really, really bad season. They've lost 7 of their past 8, having lost the first 5 matches to start the season after an off-season of narrative that included the words love and connection. They are a dysfunctional football club. They were dysfunctional in that last quarter, and the coach, Simon Goodwin, last night was speaking words that really meant nothing.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that, but clearly we didn't get that right. You know, it was... it's a pretty simple process to get 6-6-6 done. You need to communicate and get organised, and we didn't get that done. As I said, that's on us. to get that done the right way. We'll have a look at it, how it played out, why it played out, but it shouldn't happen. And as I said, we'll own that together. I think, we had 7 forwards and we had 2 wingers, so as I said, it's a pretty simple process to get right. We'll have a look at why it happened, how it happened, and make sure that never happens again.
Well, I feel in 2025 that they have been a broken football club, and I think last night now proves that. And just to go back over what happened there in that final moment, where the problem was caused with those 7 players in their own forward line.
Yeah, so that's where it was just a panicked last quarter, Damo, and that pretty much finished it off, where they just didn't even have their rotations right or their communication right. And the disappointing part is it's not as if they had a team of kids. It's not as if it's Richmond out there where you go, okay, they were young, or a Bombers team at the moment where they're young. This was Max Gawn in the middle. This was Viney on the wing. This is Christian Petrarca there. There's Clayton Oliver. There's Bowie, who's played a lot of footy off the back. So there's experience everywhere. So how this has happened, plus a coach standing on the bench. You got Mark Williams standing with him on the bench. So they were all watching this, and couldn't stop it.
Yep. The dysfunction to which I refer, Lotto, it played out in that last quarter. Senior players who have not got a good track record when it comes to kicking goals missed them again. We can see moments that were failed to be taken the most of, and that was Viney there. Now, Oliver misses that set shot. It goes close. I get that, but he doesn't kick those goals. Now, Melksham normally does kick them, but all they needed was one of these goals to go through. It was never going through. And then this one here again from Oliver. It's an okay kick. Petty nearly takes the mark. You can see the time on the clock. They just need this ball to go over the line. Now, what is Oliver doing there, handballing that in the first place? And then what is he doing with this failure to at least hit the scoreboard, Lotto? And not only that, he gives possession back with an out on the full.
Yeah, it's just why it's so disappointing is their first 3 quarters were as good a first 3 quarters they've played all year. So to capitulate like that is just devastating.
Yep, and still yet to have a CEO who's in the chair, and also a chairman who is yet to be active. And this club now with Simon Goodwin, since the 2021 Grand Final, has not operated properly.
Yeah, I use the word stale. I feel it's a stale club. A lot of players that are out there who have been wonderful players in the past who are nowhere near it. You sometimes even look at their body language, doesn't look great. I speak of Oliver, I speak of Petrarca, I speak of Gawn and Viney, so all their players have been great stalwarts. I feel like change needs to come and they need to make some big calls.
I think we'll see it this year after thinking of doing it last year and then balking at it. Now, a club that's not stale is the Gold Coast Suns, a massive win, one of the better wins of their entire time in the AFL against the Brisbane Lions. And again, their midfield led the way.
Yeah, they did. The 3 most important players, I think, obviously, Matty Rowell, Noah Anderson. I think Ben Long has come into that. Jared Witts isn't far behind, who had a brilliant game. It's a bit of a worry for Brisbane. I think Oscar McInerney in the ruck department. But, just when you've got Ben Long back kicking 4 goals, because he had a wonderful start to the year, dropped off a little bit, he hit back hard. Rowell's just a heart and soul player, Matthew Rowell, just absolutely brutal. You see here, he just mauled the Brisbane Lions, so a real wake-up call for the Brisbane Lions midfield, who are lazy throughout this game. And Noah Anderson may well be a Brownlow medalist if here Nick Dacos will vie for that. So when your best players do what they did, and Brisbane's best players were off, well, that's why it was a 66-point mauling, and one of the great wins, or maybe it'll be the best win in the club's history.
Yeah, I think it's a fair case to mount on that front, and the response that they needed to show after that last week debacle against Adelaide, it was all that they absolutely needed. Lordo, it took some doing, didn't it? This is the turnaround from the previous Q Clash performance, which I won't say it humiliated them, but I think it put them back in their box a bit. But to turn it round so quickly in season, the numbers there are jumping off the page. Yeah,
the score flattered the Suns in round 8, but they were belted, as you can see in those numbers. But to pretty much flip the script, we're talking around like 30 turnaround in clearance and 28 to 27 turnaround inside 50s. Just a massive, massive win for them.
And Matty Rowell's performance is quite extraordinary, alongside his great mate Noah Anderson.
Yeah, Dunkley got him in round 8, and he was even the clearances. He had 1 clearance in round 8, and he took it to 15. So he just knows how to get better. Tackles 5 to 12, score involvements 1 to 10. What a player he is. Now,
on Saturday night, the Crows were atop the AFL ladder. That changed when Collingwood defeated Richmond, but they are doing everything right, Lordo, and to rack up a 98-point win in the messy conditions at Adelaide Oval against Port Adelaide was quite extraordinary.
I want to show why they're kicking 20 goals and conceding 5, and that's because they're so strong defensively, and then off the back of their defence, they get your offense. That's a massive spoil by Murray. They're too tough, Tex and then Berry on the charge. So they've got every facet, so full credit to Matthew Nicks that he's got his players. Oh, look at this pressure from Soligo, like Hunt, pressure, players losing their feet. Bergman didn't want that ball. So that's what I love about the Crows, that they're intimidating, they're putting pressure. Alir, and does he want nervous, fumbly, pressure in the face? This is a premiership model, and we're going to get to. I've had 3 clubs in my premiership mix this year. It's been Collingwood, Brisbane, and Geelong.
Yeah.
I now have this.
You're adding them.
Yeah, I'm adding them. Yeah, it's the first time I've added a side all year. I don't do that lightly, but I think they're fully capable of winning this premiership, and it's because of this profile, Damo. They are ranked 3rd and 2nd in terms of their ability to in offence and defence.
Which are the key metrics when it comes to forming a premiership team.
Right.
Lotto, until Nasai Wanganeen-Milera did what he did on Sunday, Finn Callaghan had the best game quarter of the round.
Yeah, that was the 3rd quarter in that game. What a game, what a turnaround it was by the GWS Giants. You look at the scores there, 16-50, and Flying Finn put on a clinic. And what I love about Finn is there's a lot of possessions in this game where we can see guys who get 40 possessions. Callaghan wins the medal having 21 disposals. So it's the quality of his possessions, and there's a common theme. Like, whenever the Giants win a big game, it's Finn Callaghan who's best man on the ground. So they've got a lot of good players, Giants, a lot of talented players, but he's their best player and most important.
He can do things that very few can do, Lotto, right now.
He's a Rolls Royce, and he's been that player. I think I remember going to just watch a Sandringham Dragon game, and I didn't know anyone's names, and he was doing this one day at Trevor Barker Oval in Sandringham, and I thought, what a Rolls-Royce gem of a player. But to then move on and do this at AFL level, I just said he's the key. I can't wait to see him. He did it in a final, didn't he, against the Saints at the MCG?
Yep.
He's a star.
We'll stick with the Rolls-Royces and maybe go to the Bentleys, because Nick Dacos at the MCG yesterday, Lotto, he's had a really good year. It's his 4th season of footy, but to add 3 goals to a 42 disposal performance, if he needed a few votes late in the season, well, he's got 3 surely from yesterday.
He was the highlight out of this game because the pressure from Richmond was pretty good, but he just made them look second-rate. So all the midfielders of Richmond would walk away going, I could learn a lot from Nick Dacos. And I stood here 7 days ago and I said, Cozzy, Pickett and Heaney are the best players in this game for a reason that they kick goals. And even Nick Dacos doesn't kick goals like they do. And then he's come out and he's kicked 3 goals to go with his 42, He had 31 kicks of those 42 and he hardly wasted one. So full credit to him. So humble, but just keeps taking his game to the next level.
I love this guy.
Oh,
I mean, that's his wrong foot, just to remind people, not that you would know that. That's his first multiple goal return in 2025, Lordo, and only the 3rd time in his career he's actually kicked 3 goals. It's only his 4th year in footy, but that's the sort of number he's returning late in 2025. Another big-name player to hit his straps in round 20 was James Sicily of the Hawks. Now, he controlled that game against Carlton.
He did. The marking of James Sicily. So he's had 25 disposals and taken 11 marks in this game. And it was good to see him. Smile on his face.
First time in a while.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe the break for him has been the best thing. He needed a circuit break of Sicily, and maybe that injury that he had and leaving the side just freshened him right up because he read the ball beautifully. His kicking was back. I said one time, take the ego out of your kick. He was just going too much with his kicks, whereas I think he got the balance right, both with his aerial skills and his foot skills as well.
Yep. Jeremy Cameron, Lotto, 11 goals against the North Melbourne Witches hats, but it's a couple of other players you want to take focus on as they prepare for another premiership tilt.
Well, Jeremy Cameron's only as good as his midfield, and it's whenever Holmes and Bailey Smith have games like they did, they are the players that are the driving forces of Geelong. I just think Tom Atkins plays a great role for them, but Tom Atkins is your pressure player, whereas Holmes, when he gets shut down, I think Geelong can be limited, and Bailey Smith's been off. He's missed a few games, he's had some lesser games, but he had 25 disposals to half-time. He used the ball better, Bailey Smith as well, wasn't as wasteful with his disposal, so I still think these two, probably no rocket science.
The 1-2 best in the comp?
Yeah, and are the key to Geelong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not sure they're one. I think I'd still take Rowell and Anderson.
Yep. That game provides us the focus of the Crypto.com bold call of the week, and it is that the North Melbourne Footy Club is the AFL's graveyard, Lordo. It's been 6 years now where they've either finished last or second last on the ladder. They are tracking to do so again in 2025. They churn through coaches, Brad Scott, Reece Shaw, David Noble, Alistair Clarkson now in his third year as coach has not got an answer that the club expected him to have. 2 years remaining of a contract. He will coach into 2026, I'm certain of that. But he's on the hook. He's on the clock now to get results. And the development of players they have had access to in the draft is not up to scratch. They couldn't keep Jason Horne-Francis for more than one season. They haven't developed others. And the recruits who go to the club are not the top-range players that they initially seek to get. They are the lesser lights at the latter stages of careers, and it's just simply not working, this football club, and hasn't for a long time. Nothing has changed. It is a graveyard.
Yeah, it's strong by you, Damo, but you do look at guys like Phillips, who was a top 5 pick, and now you look at Dersma, the latest one, top 5 pick, of why they just are not developing. So I do look, respect O'Sullivan and Sheasel and Wardlaw and these types, but it's not really, they don't know how to win.
Do you finally agree with me, though, that they're not on the right track?
Yeah,
and nothing's changed?
100%. I thought with the talent that they've got, you can only improve, and it's only a matter of time. That was my view on just what they've got there, but it's not translating into anything meaningful at all.
There are a lot of lopsided results out of the round, Lordo, and a lot of takeouts for us.
Yeah, well done to Hayden Young winning the Glendenning Allen medal. So forever Young Fremantle are a much better side with him in, and I think they can win a couple of finals, maybe not win it. Western Bulldogs play the Giants Thursday night. Put up or shut up? Shut up. Put up a win that is meaningful. The Western Bulldogs, the Swans, they've been chasing their tail all year. They've finally been put out of their misery. And the Bombers show some backbone. Do not allow a side to take 126 marks. I felt sorry for Jaden Laverty on Darcy with a whole 50 to himself. So bring some heat this week.
Yep. Like what Carlton did with the Sam Doherty situation, Lord, a great of that football club, former captain, and went out the right way and performed well in that game that loss to Hawthorn. Liking what the Tigers did, coming off 2 wins, held their own against Collingwood. They weren't expected to win, they didn't, but they were okay, and it's been a good season for them. And I think West Coast is grateful that North Melbourne and maybe Port Adelaide played dreadfully on the weekend, because otherwise a team that gets to this stage of this season with just 1 win is otherwise going to be in focus. Now, how'd you go with your tipping for Crypto.com this week, Lotto? You got 2 more than I did, and you're still potentially in striking distance of the tearaway Pride of Jenny type leader in Mockawati.
Well, the Giants coming back and St Kilda coming back certainly saved my tips for this round, don't it?
Thank you for that, and thank you for watching Access for Crypto.com. We'll be back next Monday to wrap up round 21.